Welcome everyone to this celebration of the birthdays of two great souls who helped Sri Ramakrishna establish the Ramakrishna Mat and Mission, the order of monks and their mission to spread Thakur's message and gospel. And that is, of course, Swami Vivekananda and Swami Brahmananda or Raja Maharaj, Swamiji and Raja Maharaj. Swamiji was responsible primarily for the work in the West. He was once asked at the Brooklyn Ethical Association in 1895 why he was proselytizing. The reporter from the Brooklyn Standard said, "Swamiji, we don't normally think of Hinduism as a proselytizing religion." And Swami Vivekananda said, "I have a mission to the West as Buddha had a mission to the East." And his mission was given to him in a dream vision by Sri Ramakrishna. And he did, in fact, establish this work in the West, beginning in 1893, with his first appearance at the Parliament of World Religions in Chicago. As part of the Chicago Exposition that year, they had the first interfaith gathering ever held that anyone knows about, and it was called the Parliament of World Religions. Swamiji, with his very first address, became the star of that parliament. That was not what was intended by the organizers, but they soon saw that this was the case and scheduled Swamiji as the last speaker of virtually every day of the conference so that people would stay. Swamiji then went on to teach in the West from 1895 until 1900, with a break to go to India for various reasons, including organizing and establishing the Ramakrishna Mat and Mission. Swami Brahmananda, on the other hand, stayed in India and was responsible for spreading the word and establishing the missionary centers throughout India. And he was such a great soul that it was said that to know him was, or to be with him, was like being with Sri Ramakrishna himself. He did not make many rules. His way of administrating was by love. Sri Ramakrishna himself, at one time when they were at Kashipur and during Sri Ramakrishna's last illness, Sri Ramakrishna said of the boy who was then known as Rakal, he said, "Rakal has the attributes, has the abilities of a king." And of course, Swami Vivekananda heard clearly what was meant by this remark. And so he began to call Rakal Raja. And he became, though he took the name, the monastic name Swami Brahmananda, he was known throughout his life, the rest of his life, as Raja Maharaj. These two men were born 9 days apart in 1863. Swami, the young man Narendranath Datta, who became Swami Vivekananda, was born on January the 12th, 1863. 9 days later, January 21st, 1863, Rakal Chandra Ghosh was born, and the two of them became the founders, as I said, of this work. Rakal and Narendra both came at the invitation of Sri Ramakrishna as the avatar, the incarnation of the divine presence. Sri Ramakrishna brought what he called his band of minstrels. But these two were ever-free souls. Vivekananda, the name Narendranath, he is one of the, is said to be one of the 7 sages that are the pillars of the universe, the sage Nara, and Rakal is, or Brahmananda, Raja Maharaj, is known as the eternal companion. Whenever the incarnation appears, this being that was in this lifetime Rakal or Raja Maharaj comes with the incarnation. This is, you can read about this in the book by Swami Brahmananda by that title, The Eternal Companion. So these boys in their early teens became friends. They worked out at the gymnasium together. They were both quite athletic. And they joined the Brahmo Samaj, first Swamiji and then Raja Maharaj, Rakal, joined the Brahmo Samaj, the organization that was a reform organization headed at that time by Keshav Sen, who became a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna changed the vector of Keshav Sen's life and of the Brahmo Samaj. But both of these boys came to Sri Ramakrishna when he was living at Dakshineshwar, and he gave them, of course, their spiritual instruction. Rakal, over a period of many years, really, but Swami Vivekananda especially, over a very intense period of 5 years. And he was training them both to do what they became. As I said earlier, Vivekananda, after he had taken that name and had been on this sadhu's wandering north to south, east to west in India, he had gone back south and was meditating on a rock at Kanyakumari, the very tip of India, where it extends into the ocean there. And he was meditating on this rock. And when he went to sleep one of those nights, he did this for 3 continuous days. When he went to sleep one night, he had this vision, this dream vision of Sri Ramakrishna gesturing him to go to the west, go across the ocean to the west. Now, it was a very unusual thing for anyone to. There had been others that had gone, but it was very unusual for to travel to the west.
Make me come? Oh, okay.
Someone has their mic open. Someone has their mic open. We're hearing them. Please.
That's long, but I want to come.
We're hearing here, whoever you are, please close your mic. We're hearing you. Thank you. So, because this was such an unusual thing, Vivekananda wrote a letter to Holy Mother. Now, Holy Mother, Sri Sharda Devi, was in fact at that point, in practice, she was the head of the Ramakrishna order, the Ramakrishna Math, and the Ramakrishna mission. It was not a formal position, but everyone sought her opinion on any important decision. And so Swami Vivekananda wrote her a letter and said, this is the dream vision that I've had of Sri Ramakrishna gesturing me to go to the West. I want you to tell me whether this is the auspicious, appropriate thing to do. She wrote back strongly in the affirmative. And so the Maharaja of Khetri, who knew about the upcoming Parliament of World Religions, suggested to Swamiji that he go there as a representative of Hinduism, and agreed to pay his expenses, because of course Swamiji had no money. And so the Maharaja of Khetri paid for Swamiji to go to the Parliament of World Religions. And Swamiji had some various misadventures on his way, lost his papers, even lost his money at one point. And by the grace, of course, of the divine, he was adopted by a family in Chicago by the name of Hale, the Hale family. And he named Mrs. Hale Mother Church and became very close to her. And Mr. Hale and their two daughters became very, very fond of Swamiji and took care of him, arranged for his credentials through a professor in Boston that had known Swamiji already because of his travels to Boston before the Parliament. And so, as I said, Swami Vivekananda became the star of the Parliament of World Religions, and so was asked to stay and teach. And that's what he did from 1893 until 1895, 1897. Let's see. Yeah, 4 years, 1893 to 1897. He stayed and taught in various places and kept such a furious schedule that he was known as the cyclonic monk. One of the St. Louis papers dubbed him that, I believe. So he was wearing his body out. So at one point in 1897, he went back to India to help his family settle some lawsuits. Number one, to form the Ramakrishna Mountain Mission. Number two, and then he returned to the US in 1899 and stayed for 1899 and into the early part of 1900 for a second stay. And during this time, he spent a great deal of time during both his visits at a place on the mid-Hudson, west bank of the Hudson in New York, called Ridgely Manor, which is now Vivekananda Retreat Ridgely. He spent a total of 14 weeks there. And he didn't leave there until October of 1899. I went to Chicago for Thanksgiving with the Hale family, and then went on to Los Angeles, where he delivered some of his most important talks on Bhakti Yoga, including something that is highly recommended for any follower of Sri Ramakrishna and this tradition, the talk, Christ the Messenger. Highly recommended that you read that. It was delivered to a Universalist Unitarian, I think they were just called Unitarians at that time, Unitarian congregation in Pasadena in January of 1900. It's a magnificent talk. And then he went on to San Francisco, where he gave some of his more famous talks on Jnana Yoga, the path of philosophy and spiritual discrimination. Swamiji himself founded, I said he founded all of these centers in the West directly or indirectly. Two of them he founded personally. One in New York in 1894, very soon after the Parliament of World Religions, he was teaching in New York and founded that Vedanta Society of New York that continuously has existed since then and is now headed by Swami Sarvapriyananda, 34 West 71st Street, just off Central Park in New York City. The second center that he founded was the one in San Francisco, called the Vedanta Society of Northern California. And he founded that in 1900, just before he left to go back to India. San Francisco at that time was the financial capital and intellectual capital of the West Coast. Of course, New York was the financial and intellectual capital of the East Coast. So he founded these two centers in the intellectual and financial centers of the country and left. All of the rest of the centers followed in one way or the other. As I said, Brahmananda was responsible for not only the centers in India, but the development of the centers in the West. And Swami Vivekananda was in constant communication with him and his other brother disciples about the work. And in India, the work involved a lot of social service, tremendous amount of social service. Swami Vivekananda, by his own direction, said in the West, no, we won't focus on social service. There's plenty of organizations here to provide social service. It's part of the fabric of the culture here. So we will focus on spiritual instruction. And that is what the Vedanta centers, including this one, have done ever since. The focus on the practices and principles of self-realization or God realization as taught by Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and the other direct disciples. Brahmananda left the body in 1922. Holy Mother had left the body in 1920, and Vivekananda had left the body in 1902, July 4th, 1902, very deliberately. But the work continued to expand under the direction of the other direct disciples and disciples of the direct disciples. And so many Swamis were sent here to the West to establish centers. Everything that has happened is as the result of the will, it's regarded as the will of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, but through the instruments of their disciples and the direct disciples and the disciples of direct disciples. For example, Raja Maharaja's disciple was Swami Brahmananda, who came to the United States in 1925, and 4 years later established the Vedanta Society of Southern California in Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood was not Hollywood in those days. It was the picture industry was in Burbank and Culver City, but it was already known as Hollywood because of a real estate development. And so Swami Prabhupada became my teacher, my guru. So this is how I ended up sitting here today, because he did that, and Swami Swahananda took me under his wing. And when it came time to establish this center, under Swami Swahananda's guidance, after Swami Yogeshanandaji, the founder of this place, retired, that's how I was sent here. So with that, any comments or questions or concerns that anyone would like to raise? before we start the actual birthday celebration of with the puja of and Aditya Chaturvedi very kindly agreed to take responsibility for the puja today, and will do, of course, his usual wonderful job. But before that, if there are any comments or concerns or questions, please don't feel at all shy to share.
Shankara,
Yes, Uma.
first, so happy to see who's sitting there and coming back to us with this wonderful day, celebrating 2 birthdays.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Thank you. My question is, I heard that Swami Vivekananda, while he was in America, he made strong friendship with some American authors. Can you please tell me if that is so, and who are those people?
You know, I'm sure that he made the acquaintance of some authors, though I
Yeah.
don't know any particular names. He was a great admirer of Walt Whitman. He never met him. Whitman died before that was there was the opportunity for the two of them. But he read Swami Vivekananda read Whitman's Leaves of Grass, and he called him the American Sannyasin.
Mm.
So I don't know of any particular authors that Swami Vivekananda, of course, the people that he encountered in the intellectual and academic realms, many of them were authors, like Professor Wright at Harvard and so on.
Yeah.
But,
somebody whose name starts with S-H-C-H, or I cannot come up with the name. Schlesinger, somebody who wrote about Swamiji.
I there were many people who wrote about Swamiji, Roman Roland.
Yeah,
But
it was American.
it was French. Roman Roland was French. But I don't know of any particular authors that Swamiji befriended. I'm sure it is there. There must be some substance to what you've heard, but I don't know any details. His disciple and friend Josephine MacLeod was a friend of the great author Nikos Kazantzakis, and helped him actually publish his book, The Shoes of the Fisherman. So there was a lot of that, of course, academic and intellectual. It was music that Swami Vivekananda prized most highly. It isn't that he disparaged in any way literature, but as he said, this is a quote from Swamiji: music is the highest form of art, and for those who understand it, the highest form of worship. So that's one of the things that Swamiji said about the intellectual realm and the artistic realm of human endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thanks for the question. Anything else from anyone? All right. With that, then I will sign off. I wish you, as always, so well. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai, Durga Durga Durga. May we all be well. May we all be safe. May we all be healthy. May we all be cheerful. May we have peace of mind, and may we go forward and know we are going forward and in the loving and protective embrace of the divine being as our mother and father. Om Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. So with that, I'll turn the proceedings over to Aditya and fare thee well.
Everybody, and good wishes on Swamiji's and Raja Maharaj's birthday. So without further ado, I'll start the puja. Om Sarvamangal Mangalyam Varenyam Varadam Shubham Narayanam Namaskritya Sarvakarmani Karayet. Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu. Om Vishnu, 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 Om Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah Diviva Chakshuratatam Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavastangatopi Va Yasmaret Pundari Kaksham Sabhaya Bhyantara Shuchihi. Om Grim Ete Gandha Pushpe Adhar Shakta Namaha. Nama 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 nama. Om Krom Gange Chayamane Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. Om Ete Gandha Pushpe Sarvebhyo Tirthebhyo Namaha. Om Dwara Devatabhyo Namaha. Om Ete Gandha Pushpe Dwara Devatabhyo Namaha. Om Ete Gandha Pushpe Brahmane Namaha. Om Ete Gandha Pushpe Vastu Purushaya Namaha. Om Apasarpantu Te Bhuta Ye Bhuta Bhuvi Samstita Te Bhuta Vigna Kartarasте Nashyantu Shivagya. Om Raksha Raksha Hum Phat Swaha. Om Grim Ete Gandha Pushpe Adhar Shaktadibhyo Namaha. Om Syasanopaveşana Mantrasya Meru Prishta Rishihi Sutalam Chandah Kurmo Devatasanopaveşane Viniyogah. Om Prithvi Tvaya Dhrita Lokah Devi Tvam Vishnuna Dhrita Tvam Jadharayamam Nityam Pavitram Kuruchasanam. Om Grim Ete Gandha Pushpe Adhar Shaktaye Kamalasanaaya Namaha. Aim Gurubhyo Namah Aim Param Gurubhyo Namah Aim Parapara Gurubhyo Namah Om Paramishti Gurubhyo Namah Om Ganeshaya Namaha Om Aim Sarvadeva Devi Swarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Namaha. Astraya Phat Om Aim Phat Om Aim Phat Om Aim Phat Om Aim Sarvadeva Devi Swarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Namaha. Om Amaim Am Kamaim Kam Chamaim Cham Tamaim Tam Tamaim Tam Pamaim Pam Yamaim Yam Shamaim Sham. Ram 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 Ram. ओम ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्री राम कृष्णाय नमः। ओम ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्री राम कृष्णाय नमः। ओम ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्री राम कृष्णाय नमः। ओम दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी स्वाहा ओम आं हुं फट् स्वाहा। ओम दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी स्वाहा ओम आं हुं फट् स्वाहा। ओम दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी स्वाहा ओम आं हुं फट् स्वाहा। ओम भूत श्रृंगाटाक्षिरः सुषुम्नापथेन जीव शिवं परम शिव पदे योजयामि स्वाहा। ओम यम लिंग शरीरम शोषय शोषय स्वाहा। ओम रम संकोच शरीरम दह दह स्वाहा। ओम परम शिव सुषुम्नापथेन मूल श्रृंगाट मूल सोल्लस ज्वल ज्वल प्रज्वल प्रज्वल सोहम हम सह स्वाहा। आम हुम फट स्वाहा। आम हुम फट स्वाहा। आम हुम फट स्वाहा। सोहम। आं ह्रीं क्रों यं रं लं शं शं सं हौं हं सः श्रीरामकृष्णदेवतायाः प्राणैः प्राण। आं ह्रीं क्रों यं रं लं शं शं सं हौं हं सः श्रीरामकृष्णदेवतायाः जीवय स्थितः। आं ह्रीं क्रों यं रं लं शं शं सं हौं हं सः श्रीरामकृष्णदेवतायाः सर्वेन्द्रियाणि। आं ह्रीं क्रों यं रं लं शं शं सं हौं हं सः श्रीरामकृष्णदेवतायाः वाङ्मनश्चक्षुत्वक्षोत्रघ्राण प्राणैः गत्य सरं चिरं तिष्ठन्तु स्वाहा। ओम अस्य मातृका मंत्रस्य ब्रह्म ऋषि गायत्री छन्दः देवी मातृका सरस्वती देवता हलो बीजानि स्वराः शक्तयः व्यक्त कीलकं सर्वाभीष्ट सिद्धये लिपिन्यासे विनियोगः। ओम ब्रह्मणे ऋषये नमः। ओम गायत्री छन्दसे नमः। ओम देवी मातृका सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम हलभ्यो बीजेभ्यो नमः। ओम स्वरेभ्यो शक्तिभ्यो नमः। ओम अव्यक्त कीलकाय नमः। ओम अंकं कंकं गंगं 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 गांगं गुष्टाभ्यां नमः। ईं चम 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 ईं तर्जनीभ्यां स्वाहा। ओम टम टम डम 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 ओम ओम मध्यमाभ्यां वषटीं तम तम दम दम नमामि अनामिकाभ्यां ओम ओम बम 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 ओम कनिष्ठाभ्यां वषट् अम यम रम लम शम लम क्षमा करितलभिष्टाभ्याम् अस्त्राय फट्। ओम अंकं कंकं गंगं 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 गांगृदयाय नमः। ईं चम 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 ईं शीर्षे स्वाहा। ओम टम टम डम 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 ओम ओम शिखाय वषट् ऐं तम तम दम दम नमामि ऐं कवचाय ओम ओम पम पम बम 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 ओम नेत्रत्रयाय वषट् अम यम रम लम शम लम क्षमा करितलभिष्टाभ्याम् अस्त्राय फट्। ओम एतेभ्यो गंधादिभ्यो नमः। ओम एतेभ्यो गंधादिभ्यो नमः। ओम एतेभ्यो गंधादिभ्यो नमः। ओम एते गंधपुष्पे एतेभ्यो गंधादिभ्यो नमः। ओम एते गंधपुष्पे एतदीपतये देवाय विष्णवे नमः। ओम एते गंधपुष्पे एतत् संप्रदानेभ्य पूजनीय देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम नमो विवस्वते ब्रह्मन् भास्वते विष्णु तेजसे जगत्सवित्रे शुचये सवित्रे कर्मदायिने ओमेशो अर्घ्यः श्री सूर्याय नमः। ओम जपा कुसुम संकाशं काश्यपेयं महाद्युतिं ध्वान्तारिं सर्वपापघ्नं प्रणतोऽस्मि दिवाकरम्। ओम ब्रह्मानन्दं परम सुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ओम इति गन्धपुष्पे श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे गणेशादि पञ्चदेवताभ्यो नमः। ॐ गम इति गन्धपुष्पे गणेशाय नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय इति गन्धपुष्पे शिवाय नमः। ॐ नमो नारायणाय इति गन्धपुष्पे नारायणाय नमः। ॐ ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे सूर्याय नमः। ॐ ह्रीं इति गन्धपुष्पे जयदुर्गायै नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे अग्नये नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे आदित्यादि नवग्रहेभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे इन्द्रादि दशदिक्पालेभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे मत्स्यादि दशावतारेभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे काल्यादि दशमहाविद्याभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे सर्वाभ्यो देवीभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे अकारादि पंचाशद् वर्णेभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे प्रतिपदादि तिथिभ्यो नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे कृष्णपक्षाय नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे शुक्लपक्षाय नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे अमावास्यायै नमः। ॐ इति गन्धपुष्पे पूर्णिमायै नमः। ॐ ऐं पीठदेवताभ्यो नमः। ॐ ह्रीं पीठशक्तिभ्यो नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः इत्यस्य मन्त्रस्य ब्रह्मर्षि गायत्री छन्दः सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपः श्रीरामकृष्णदेवता ऋष्यादिन्यासे विनियोगः। ॐ ब्रह्मणे ऋषये नमः। ॐ गायत्री छन्दसे नमः। ॐ सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ऐं ऐं अंगुष्ठाभ्यां नमः। राम तर्जनीभ्यां स्वाहा। मम मध्यमाभ्यां वशक्तिमनामिकाभ्यां हुं फ्रम कनिष्ठाभ्यां वौषट्। ऐं रामकृष्णः करतलभिष्टाभ्याम् अस्त्राय फट्। ऐं हृदयाय नमः। राम शिरसे स्वाहा। मम शिखायै वशक्तिं कवचाय हुं श्रम नेत्रत्रयाय वौषट्। ऐं रामकृष्णः करतलभिष्टाभ्याम् अस्त्राय फट्। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं हृदयकमलमध्ये राजितं निर्विकल्पं सदसदखिलभेदातीतमेकस्वरूपं प्रकृतिविकृतिशून्यं नित्यमानन्दमूर्तिं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः। निरुपमतिसूक्ष्मं निष्प्रपञ्चं निरीहं गगनसदृशमीशं सर्वभूताधिवासं त्रिगुणरहितसच्चिद्ब्रह्मरूपं वरेण्यं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः। वितुरितुम् अवतीर्णं ज्ञानभक्तिः प्रशान्तिः प्रणयगलय चित्तं जीवदुःखासहिष्णुं धृतसहजसमाधिं चिन्मयं कोमलाङ्गं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः। ॐ मृतपद्मासनं दद्यात् सहस्राराचितामृतैः पाद्यं चरणयोर्दद्यात् मनस्वर्ग्यं निवेदयेत्। तेनामृतेनाचमनीयं स्नानीयं तेन च स्मृतम् आकाशतत्त्वं वस्त्रं स्यात् गन्धः स्यात् गन्धतत्त्वकं चित्तं प्रकल्पयेत् पुष्पं धूपं प्राणान् प्रकल्पयेत् तेजस्तत्त्वं च दीपार्थं नैवेद्यं सुधाम्बुधिः अनाहतध्वनिर्घण्टा वायुतत्त्वं च चामरम् सहस्रारं भवेच्छत्रं शब्दतत्त्वं च गीतकं नृत्यमिन्द्रियकर्माणि चाञ्चल्यं मनस्तथा सुमेखला पद्ममालां पुष्पं नानाविधं तथा अमायाद्यैर्भावपुष्पैरर्चयेद्भावगोचरम् अमायामनहङ्कारम् अरागममदं तथा अहिंसा परमं पुष्पं पुष्पमिन्द्रियनिग्रहः दयापुष्पं क्षमापुष्पं ज्ञानपुष्पं च पञ्चमम् इति पञ्चदशैर्भावपुष्पैः सम्पूजयेत् शिवम्। ॐ ह्रीं एते गन्धपुष्पे पीठदेवताभ्यो नमः। ॐ ह्रीं एते गन्धपुष्पे पीठशक्तिभ्यो नमः। ॐ ऐं अङ्गुष्ठाभ्यां नमः रामतर्जनीभ्यां स्वाहा मम मध्यमाभ्यां वशक्तिमनामिकाभ्यां हुं श्रमकनिष्ठाभ्यां वषट् ऐं रामकृष्ण करतलभिष्टाभ्याम् अस्त्राय फट् ऐं हृदयाय नमः रामश्रीसे स्वाहा मम शिखायै वशक्तिं कवचाय हुं श्रम नेत्रत्रयाय वषट् ऐं रामकृष्ण करतलभिष्टाभ्याम् अस्त्राय फट् ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। Can you get me incense from the drawer? ॐ ऐं हृदयकमलमध्ये राजितं निर्विकल्पं सदसदखिलभेदातीतमेकस्वरूपं प्रकृतिविकृतिशून्यं नित्यमानन्दमूर्तिं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः। निरुपम् अतिसूक्ष्मं निष्प्रपञ्चं निरीहं गगनसदृशमीशं सर्वभूताधिवासं त्रिगुणरहितसच्चिद्ब्रह्मरूपं वरेण्यं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः। विदुरितुम् अवतीर्णं ज्ञानभक्तिः प्रशान्तिः प्रणयगलय चित्तं जीवदुःखासहिष्णुं धृतसहजसमाधिं चिन्मयं कोमलाङ्गं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। श्रीरामकृष्ण देव ह्या गच्छ ह्या गच्छ ह्य तिष्ठ ह्य तिष्ठ ह्य सन्निधे ह्य सन्निधे ह्य सन्निरुध्यस्व ह्य सन्निरुध्यस्व ह्य सम्मुखो भव ह्य सम्मुखो भव अत्राधिष्ठानं कुरु मम पूजां गृहाण। ॐ ऐं ईशगन्धः सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं इदं सचन्दनपुष्पं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ ऐं ॐ ऐं ईशधूपः सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। रामकृष्णाय विद्महे गदाधराय धीमहि तन्नो देवः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ रामकृष्णाय विद्महे गदाधराय धीमहि तन्नो देवः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ रामकृष्णाय विद्महे गदाधराय धीमहि तन्नो देवः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ऐं ईशदीपः सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ रामकृष्णाय विद्महे गदाधराय धीमहि तन्नो देवः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ ऐं इदं सोपकरणनैवेद्यं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। वमि तस्मै सोपकरणनैवेद्याय नमः। वमि तस्मै सोपकरणनैवेद्याय नमः। वमि तस्मै सोपकरणनैवेद्याय नमः। ॐ ऐं इदं सोपकरणनैवेद्यं सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय निवेदयामि। ॐ अमृतोपस्तरणमसि स्वाहा ॐ प्राणाय स्वाहा ॐ अपानाय स्वाहा ॐ उदानाय स्वाहा ॐ व्यानाय स्वाहा ॐ समानाय स्वाहा। ॐ अमृतपिधानमसि स्वाहा ॐ ऐं पानार्थोदकं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय स्वधा ॐ ऐं इदम् आचमनीयोदकं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय स्वधा ॐ ऐं इदं ताम्बूलं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः ॐ ऐं निशासचन्दनं पुष्पाञ्जलिः सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ गुह्याति गुह्यगोप्तृत्वं गृहाण स्मृतं जपं सिद्धिर्भवतु मे देव तत्प्रसादान् महेश्वरः। ॐ एते गन्धपुष्पो ऐं एते गन्धपुष्पे सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपिण्यै श्री शारदा देव्यै नमः। ॐ ऐं इदं श्रीरामकृष्ण दिव्यप्रसादं श्री शारदा देव्यै निवेदयामि। ॐ एते गन्धपुष्पे श्रीमत् स्वामी विवेकानन्दाय नमः। ॐ इदं श्रीरामकृष्ण दिव्यप्रसादं श्री स्वामी विवेकानन्दाय निवेदयामि। ॐ इदं सचन्दनपुष्पं स्वामी ब्रह्मानन्दाय नमः। ॐ इदं श्रीरामकृष्ण दिव्यप्रसादं ब्रह्मानन्दाय स्वामिने निवेदयामि। ॐ अमृतोपस्तरणमसि स्वाहा ॐ अमृतपिधानमसि स्वाहा। ॐ ऐमीशा सचन्दन पुष्पाञ्जलिः सांगाय सावरणाय सशक्तिकाय सपार्षदाय सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय वौषट्। ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्यां स्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So now we'll do the Arati. ॐ गन्धपुष्पे मण्डलाय नमः। ॐ इदं नीराजनीयं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय निवेदयामि। वमितस्मै नीराजनाय नमः। वमितस्मै नीराजनाय नमः। वमितस्मै नीराजनाय नमः। जय श्री राम कृष्ण, 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 जय श्री राम कृष्ण। So with this, we conclude our today's puja. Uh, Perhaps we can recite the stotra together to Sri Ramakrishna, composed by Swamiji. Om Om Vimritam Tvamachalo Gunaje Gunebhyaha Naktan Divam Sapadunam Tava Okay. Moham Kasham Bahukritam Na Bhaje Ato Tasmaat Tvameva Sharanam Mama Dinabandho Bhakti Bhagavascha Bhajan Bhavadhi Gacchutyalam Suvimalam Gamanayatvam Vaktrodhrito Viridime Nacha Bhakti Tasmaat Tvameva Sharanam Mama Dinabandho Tejastara Titarasa Tvai Tripta Trishna Rage कृते ऋतपथे त्वयि राम कृष्णे मर्त्यावृतं तव पदं तस्मात् त्वमेव शरणं मम दीनबन्धो कृत्यं करोति कलुषं कुहकान्तकारि शान्तं शिवं सुविमलं तव नामनाथ यस्मादहं त्वशरणं जगदीशगम्या त्वमेव शरणं मम दीनबन्धो ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य अवतार वरिष्ठाय राम कृष्णाय ते नमः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते राम कृष्णाय नमो नमः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते राम कृष्णाय नमो नमः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते राम कृष्णाय नमो नमः जय मां महामाई की जय जय भगवान श्री राम कृष्ण देव की जय जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय जय राजा महाराज जी की जय So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Pradip, you want to say?
Yes, thank you so very, very much
Thank you so
for being
much.
with us today. This is, of course, auspiciousness itself, this celebration of these great souls. It fills our hearts, it fills our minds, it fills our awareness with the fact, the absolute fact of divinity. We feel it when we participate in these things. And this is so good to reassure us in our fears and our doubts, to be able to recall, yes, I know this, I know I've experienced it. And so this is the great auspiciousness of these celebrations and of these pujas. They manifest the divine for us, and we feel it, and so can carry that forward into our lives. May you all be well. May you all be well and in bright spirits. Jai Shri Ramakrishna Jai Ma. Jai Shri Ramakrishna Jai Ma. Jai Shri Ramakrishna Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji Jai Raja Maharaj. Jai Swamiji Jai Raja Maharaj. Jai Swamiji Jai Raja Maharaj. And happy birthday to us all. Jai Shri Krishna Jai. Salutations to each and every one of you, the great souls who make up this congregation that studies the art of spirituality together. May you be well and in bright spirits. Salutations and farewell.
Thank you, Shankara.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, dear.
Thank you, Aditya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.